guys, welcome back. It's Missy. I know sometimes my dog will come and interrupt my videos, but unfortunately she is with, I sound unfortunately like I'm gonna now she died. No, she's not dead. Unfortunately, she's with my sister, so it's been weird around the house. I really miss her, so randomly I'll call her or I'll pretend she's there just to stay sane because I'm so used to her being right behind me. So I don't have my sidekick today, but hopefully you'll still watch this video. So today's topic is on healthy communication and avoiding communication breakdown. Unhealthy communication is when you guys talk over each other, or you don't feel like you're able to express yourself and they're not expressing themselves, and you may keep everything in until you explode. That's unhealthy communication. Now, our communication styles are learned from our upbringing. A lot of us are taught unhealthy communication mechanisms. In unhealthy homes, we're taught that what we say doesn't matter. We're taught that our needs don't matter. We are told we don't have to say. We're also taught that we have to ask for permission for a lot of things. Also, as a child, there may have been a lot of yelling, or there may have been a lot of arguing, but maybe not even about the topic that is a problem. You may have just taken digs at each other and made it a negative experience. And because of this, you will learn unhealthy communication skills. So now as an adult, you may feel like you need to ask for permission, or you may feel like your wants and needs don't matter. You may feel like you can't be straightforward with people, or you may feel like you need to people please, or you may be terrified to be straightforward because you were not taught how to communicate in a healthy way. Now, as an adult, you may come across as aggressive or passive, or you don't know how to get your point across, so you will hold it in and be passive until all of a sudden you explode and you become aggressive. Or you may not communicate and then you become really resentful towards people in your lives. But communication doesn't have to be a negative experience. It could be a very positive experience. You can learn how to communicate in a healthy way. Arguing or communication doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be a negative experience. You can guide it the way that you need to. Empower yourself and know that you can talk about things. You maybe felt in the past that your wants and needs weren't important, or you felt like you couldn't communicate things, but understand now you're older now. You can communicate. You may need to heal that inner child and go back to that child self and remind yourself you're not in that environment anymore and things are different and it's not as scary. It's really important you use good language towards yourself about communication because you want to be able to communicate. Communication is important because it helps us be able to get our wants and needs met, and it helps us to have better relationships, and we all want better relationships. Don't let things build or dismiss your feelings. Bring awareness when something's been bothering you. Some things you can just let go, but there's some things that you need to address, and it's important you address those things and you don't just dismiss it. So pick between what can you let go and what do you need to communicate. So how do we have healthy communication? How do we avoid having communication breakdown? So first is, if you're talking about an important topic, never text it. I always tell my clients, please don't text serious issues because you don't know the meaning behind the text. You don't know the tone. There's a lot of assuming. You can't read someone's meaning with a text. So anything serious or anything when it comes to feelings, it's important you either do it over the phone or face-to-face. Face-to-face is obviously better because you get that eye contact and you can have more empathy and compassion in that way. But if you need to, sometimes you can't always be face-to-face. So over the phone works as well, and you can hear more of the tone. If you are face-to-face, body language really matters. So one thing is if one person's sitting down and the other one is standing up, the one standing up will come more across as authoritative because they're in a standing up position, and the one who's down is more passive and may feel like they're a kid getting yelled at. So it's important you guys are on equal playing field where you're both either sitting up or standing. Laying down isn't always good. but you guys need to be on that same level. So, oh, I gotta sneeze. So subconsciously, you don't start to cower down or feel passive. I'm sure if you've seen fights, you've seen like the person who cowers down kind of goes like this and the aggressor is like in their face. Like, you don't want that. You want it to be equal playing field. And make sure you're facing the person. So your legs are facing the person, you're facing the person, your foot's not outward, because if your foot's outward, it means you're trying to go out the door. So you want to show like open body, you're open to listening. This closed off, it's not good. Open. Body language is really important because body language is another form of communication that we don't actively think about, but it's subconscious. Sometimes you may be feeling upset and you're not entirely sure why you're upset, but you just know you're angry at somebody. That means you need to take the time before you start yelling, like catch yourself if you're getting in that unhealthy habit, or if someone else is getting in that unhealthy habit of they're about to yell. Say, hold on, wait a minute. Let's figure out how we're feeling first before we get into the conversation. And I know it can be hard. It's really hard when emotions are in the mix and you start yelling and what have you. Just as soon as you recognize it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just when you recognize things are starting to go downhill, pause, take a minute, and you both can go to your side and like write about how you're feeling or think about it. Just address your feelings and then come back and talk it out. This is what promotes healthy arguing. Be aware of your own emotions and be aware of what's going on with you so you can better communicate. And that can help by writing beforehand how you're feeling and being more assertive rather than aggressive or passive. Now, healthy arguing, the act of confronting. That can be very scary. You may be trying to dismiss your feelings or avoid it, or you may come off as extremely aggressive because you've been holding it in so long. So don't make it a negative experience. Remind yourself this is a good thing. You want to retrain your brain to know that it's not like when you were a little kid. This is something that's good, it's healthy, and you are in control. Empower yourself. Say positive things to yourself about this experience so you make it more of a positive experience. Now, let's say someone's doing something that's really bothering you and you want to be able to express that to them. Something that's always really helpful for them to take it in a positive way is share something positive that they've done that you liked. Like say, I really appreciate you listening, or I really appreciate you doing this thing for me. I just wanted to let you know I kind of was upset because I felt like you ignored me. So share something positive about that experience with that person and then express yourself. Express what happened. Understand your objective. Before going into conversation, decide what is the goal at the end. Is that you want understanding of something? Is it that you need to be heard? Understand your intention, your objective. Maybe your objective is that you want to come to some sort of agreement. That makes it a lot easier to have the conversation, stay in the conversation. And that's what's also really important, is to make sure that you stay on topic. If you notice it start drifting into details or things that don't matter, make sure it stays on topic. So for instance, let's say that your partner, you want to talk about how you feel like they've been on their phone too much. Rather than saying like, oh, I'm sure this is why no other girls have liked you, blah, 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 blah. Stay on topic. Like, I feel neglected because I've noticed that you've been on your phone a lot, which ties into another thing. When you're going into a conversation, make sure you use I statements. Talk about how you feel. I feel upset. I feel neglected. Try to use less you statements. Obviously, you can't 100% prevent you statements, but make sure you're sticking to how you feel. And make sure you're both paying attention. Keep the phones away from each other so there's no distraction. Make sure you're in the right environment. So you don't want to argue in front of friends and family. You don't want to talk in public. Make sure it's the right environment where it's a safe environment, because you don't want to make each other feel embarrassed and try to go tit for tat. Like, it's got to be between you guys. And that's in relationship or with family and friends. Like, whoever it is, you want to make sure it's between you guys, because you don't need to have the whole neighborhood in your conversation. It's also important that you are straightforward and you're honest. So you don't want to go around the bush or just say little things or leave hints. I know women, not to call you out, but we all know sometimes we'll try to like leave little hints and be like, I don't understand, why didn't this person get the hint? You gotta be straightforward, especially with men. Men need straightforward. Like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want this. Be straightforward, to the point. Not like, I sort of told him. No, straightforward and honest. And you don't gotta be mean. That's the thing. It's not about being mean. It's about you just want to get to the point of what's going on. If the person, let's say you get in a heated argument and the person doesn't want to talk about it in that moment, don't push it. Say, all right, let's take a break. Say, why don't you pick a day and time when you would like to talk about it, whether that's in 15 minutes or the next day at 11 a.m. You pick when you want to talk, so we can figure things out, figure out how we feel, and we can get back to it. Sometimes that may be the best option. If one person wants to talk and the other one doesn't, that's not healthy. You both may need a break, so that way you can go back into the conversation. Another thing that's really important is, like, obviously one person has to go first. It's important you acknowledge what that person's saying. So you repeat back what they said. You can even say is, what I heard was, and then explain what you heard. Because that also can come up with miscommunication, is you misheard what they said. So try to reiterate what they said so you make sure you're understanding properly. And give them acknowledgement for what they said. Don't immediately go into your feelings. You're gonna get your turn. Or they're gonna get their turn. Just make sure you guys stay on topic and talk about one issue at a time, and you get that acknowledgement and they get the acknowledgement. You want to be able to express yourself, feel like your wants and needs are met, and you want to feel like the person you're communicating with also feels like their wants and needs are met and they're able to talk, and that's why you acknowledge them. And it's important you are able to get your point across without yelling or taking digs or feeling like you're getting overly heated. You can always take a moment to pause and collect yourself and determine what you need to say. Make sure you're listening. That's really important. A lot of times people say, I was listening, but listening means understanding what the person's saying. Hearing and listening are two different things. You can hear someone and go through one ear out the other. Listening is completely different. It means that you are able to take in and understand what they're saying. That's why sometimes people may say, you're not listening, because they don't feel heard or understood. And also, don't assume. If you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask questions. Questions are really good. It will further your understanding. And ask questions that they can answer, not necessarily maybe futuristic questions they may not be able to answer, but questions about their feelings and things they know. And if they don't know, give them some time to try to figure it out. So, how you have healthy communication and you avoid breakdown is by making sure you're paying attention, you're listening, you acknowledge and you ask questions, one person at a time. Pause if it's starting to get heated and come back together when you both agree. Be aware of your feelings and share I statements rather than you did this, you did that. I feel upset. I feel not acknowledged. I feel like my wants and needs are not being met. Remember your objective / your intention before going into the conversation. Like, this is what you want. You want to come to an agreement. You want things to change. Like, what is it that you want in the end? And also, you can bring it up to the person you're talking to. Like, okay, what's your objective? What is it that you want? And you guys can come to some sort of compromise. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe if you want more content like this. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye, guys. So yeah, my sidekick is not here today. Is the is